Hello, fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And to the uninitiated, it might seem that Jon Stewart, the former host of The Daily Show on Comedy Central, and Candace Owens, she's a spokesperson for PragerU, a conservative organization, so she's a conservative speaker. It would seem to the uninitiated person that the two of these people, a 50-something-year-old white person and a young conservative black woman, switched brains at some point in their life. Because Candace Owens grew up poor. She grew up babysitting her younger relatives. She grew up in a very hard life. She said she can do everything. She can do electrical work, carpentry, masonry, whatever, because they didn't have money to pay people to do that. Her grandfather, I think, was a farmer or something like that. And Jon Stewart, well, he grew up with a single mother, but he became the host of The Daily Show. He's a wealthy person. And at some point in his life, he was accused of being sexist, of perhaps being racist as well, because all of the writers that he had for this comedy show on Comedy Central, comedy news show, were male and white. And at some point after these accusations, and in, trying to laugh them off, he realized, wait a minute. So he went, let's say for example, he was joking that he went after being made aware of the fact that people call him sexist and racist. He was like, I was raised by a single mother, and she had a t-shirt that said that a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. I was very aware of not being needed as a kid, as a man. And he says that, he went back to his writer's room to joke about how he could never be sexist or racist, I guess, because of that. And he's like, hey, Donald and Joe and Frank and Wallace and all of y'all, come around and listen. All you guys are white and male. So he came to the realization that, hey, this is something that he had been asking for, he says, resumes without any names on them. But all that he had been getting apparently was white male resumes. And he said that he didn't realize that he had to ask for female resumes, or resumes from females, or he needed to ask for resumes from minorities. Otherwise, all he would be getting, he was saying that the source was polluted. That's all that he was getting. And he came to these realizations slowly that, he might not like it and he might not like how it sounds, but maybe there's some truth to it. I don't know that he would use those specific words. And on the flip side, there's Candace Owens, who went through all of this as a young person. She says that she used to be liberal. I don't know what her moment was. They say that she had got into some issues. She had some problems at university. And when she came out the other side, she was a conservative. And to hear her speak, it is a case that black people need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. That black people don't need the government to try to help them. And that welfare is encouraging the lack of presence of black males in many families. And we shouldn't, or people should not, look to the government to help fix any of these things, because the government is so horrible at fixing anything. It seems like she doesn't know about corporate welfare, about how the government looks to help corporations when times are tough. So the government can help businesses, large businesses, that keep taking their gains and giving it to their shareholders and other stakeholders, and only accepting help from the government when times are, well, not only accepting, but always turning to the government and local or federal government to get help when times are bad. And when times are good, they're always looking to get some sort of a tax break and not bring back the money to the United States. But for black people, they shouldn't look to the government for that. And that, all of the things that the government has done in order to help increase home ownership, the tax breaks that are given to homeowners to get their houses, I suppose the entire Social Security net, she probably as a conservative has a problem with. The government should help corporations and businesses and reduce their taxes and reduce the restrictions that they put on them legally to do things correctly. But when it comes to individuals, and especially black people, they should rely on themselves. On the flip side, there's Jon Stewart who's saying, listen, when I was asking for just comedians and I wanted it to be merit-based, I was apparently only getting white male comedians. Because if you look at my staff room, that's what you see. And at the same time, he is recognizing the fact that there are many things that are beyond the power of individuals to accomplish. And funny enough, that's why a government exists, to do the things that are beyond the abilities of individuals. And he even recognizes that, hey, reparations for the years of slavery and Jim Crow in the United States, they are probably a good idea. And on the next side, there's Candace Owens just saying, no, we need to do it on our own. Black people need to do it on their own. I think it's really an unfortunate state of affairs where someone who has actually experienced or should have experienced racism themselves personally, directly, and at the same time doesn't recognize that how pervasive the effects of that racism would have been on herself and other people of color. It is really unfortunate, I think, that she doesn't recognize that the person that she supports, which is Donald Trump, which to me is inconceivable, actually takes advantage himself of using people, these immigrants from other countries that he rails against, for his companies. His companies does that, asks for foreign temporary workers, and therefore bypasses the same American workers that he professes to support. And then when he's asked about it, he says, well, it's legal, so... But then when you're in a position to make it illegal, for example, you're not making it illegal for companies to do things like that. Well, actually, to be fair, I think that he is doing that right now at the moment. He is reducing immigration. Well, that has nothing to do with what he was doing. It's temporary workers that his company has asked for, and his company, I'm sure, has also taken advantage of corporate welfare. But when he is in a position to do better, he is not doing as much as he should be doing. For example, he's reducing taxes on companies. And the whole idea that is going to benefit workers is comedic. Because this has been professed for a long time in the past, and the effects of it have never actually been observed to be a fact. I was telling someone that I believe that part of the reason why Miss Owens, why it's possible for her to have made the change from a liberal to a conservative is that the amount of resistance and racism and overall hate that a black woman might receive in the world, in the US for example, is not really comparable to the amount of resistance and lack of opportunities, etc., that a male black person in the US might experience. It is definitely there. They would feel the difference between how people treat them. But if you look in the literature in terms of the actual number of women, black women, that might be in prison, it is going to be an overwhelming system where black men get punished far more than black women would get punished. I really should take a look at what the statistics say with respect to women, but it's likely that it's not in any way the experience that a black man would experience. It reminds me of Tia and Tamara. They were a pair of twins, and I didn't realize that they were mixed. Apparently their father was white and their mother was black. And I'm going to mix it up. Let's say Tamara married a black man. And she said that she never had, her eyes were opened to what her husband had to go through as a black man that she had never been aware of before until she was married to a black man. And I think that it's possible for Miss Owens to lack that kind of insight, and that made it easier for her to end up in a situation that she is in now. Anyway guys, wish me luck. You can like, unlike, comment, subscribe, and or share. That's LUCSS. And of course, it's an option but not preferred. You can always do nothing. Peace.